He wants to flirt.
Maybe he wants to flirt.
I mean, how you do that and not flirt? You're matching.
Maybe he is going on with quote unquote wink wink innocent intentions. But
I
you know
would
what I mean?
lose my fucking mind. That's why I got a lot more work to do. Hello, fuckers. How you doing? Where you been? Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Welcome to another episode of Guys We Fcked.
It's the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. I'm Corinne Fisher.
I'm Krystyna Hutchinson.
Welcome to the show. If you want to email us, it's sorryaboutlastnight@gmail.com. This week's subject line says, found out my boyfriend is on Tinder.
Oops.
It happens.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, it happens.
Tune is all song.
Hi, Corinne, Krystyna, and Mike. Thank you for all the laughs through the years. I am writing in because I received a message from one of my boyfriend's Facebook friends that they matched on Tinder.
Oh.
I confronted him about this and he admitted to it.
That's good.
He said he never joined for anything other than swiping, but I do not believe that, nor does it make sense to me. If Mike has any insight on why men do this, I mean, I could see why you would do it. It's like if you just need a little extra attention.
Yeah.
Sure, but I think that the issue is that
He wants to flirt.
maybe he wants to flirt.
I mean, how
but
you do that and not flirt? You're matching.
I think there might be something deeper there that would imply that maybe he is going on with quote unquote wink wink innocent intentions. But I mean,
Yeah, you're seeing if there's anything better out
I
there.
would
right. If you match with
lose-
somebody, what are you gonna do? You're gonna,
I
you know
would
what I mean?
lose my fucking mind. That's why I got a lot more work to do.
Well, I would just dump him.
It's a dumpable offense, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. You don't need to lose your mind. You just go, okay, bye.
See ya.
Ciao. Have a nice life. All right. Let's see. He said he never joined for anything. I confronted him about this and he admitted it. He said he never joined for anything other than swiping, but I do not believe this. If Mike has any insight on why men do this, I have always said I will never stay with a cheater, but I am uncertain what to do since we live together. 6 months left on our lease. I mean, that's the pickle you got yourself into.
Yeah.
I do love and care about this person, but I do not think I can ever trust or forgive him.
That's fair.
I feel very disrespected and mad. I am looking for advice on how to deal with a situation like this. I know I need to leave, but I am struggling with facing the reality of leaving. Yeah, that's the problem with moving in with someone. Any advice would be appreciated and help me with this confusing, angry time. Thank you again for everything you guys do. I wish there was like a little ages here or like how long you've been together, if anything like this has happened before. You know, I need a little bit more information.
Yeah, some insight.
It seems
and
like
how, what is your relationship other than this? You know, is it good? How's your sex life? Do you communicate? Obviously not fully.
Yeah.
Or he's not communicating this little urge he's got.
Right. There's like a lot of information missing here, but based on the details we have, I mean, it seems like you are writing us having already made a decision. You're saying
we support it.
You're saying, I don't think I can ever trust or forgive him. So do yourself, and honestly, he doesn't deserve it right now, but do both of yourselves the favor of if you know right now you can never trust and forgive him, don't drag this on. That's my least favorite thing that people do. They pretend like they can get over it and they just like continuously make the person pay. It's like, yes, is this fucked up, but is this an offense that for which there is no repentance? No, I also don't believe that. I believe that, yes, if you wanted to, you could stay in this relationship and salvage it. I 100% think, but it seems like you know yourself well enough. You've already said, I can't trust or forgive him. I'm reading that you're probably in your 20s based on just kind of that, honestly. There's a lot more forgiveness when you're later, but also, you know, you're less likely to get into something in the first place. And so, yeah, just leave now and save everyone the fucking time and heartache.
Yeah.
And also it's just, I mean, at best, this is, a sign of how this guy is feeling and maybe of things that
I can't communicate it.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I've never heard of a guy in my circle of friends or anybody that I know that like gets on Tinder while they're in a relationship just for the swiping. Like, what an odd thing.
I mean, I know tons of guys who get on Tinder while they're in relationships, but
to meet another person.
Yeah,
right?
to fuck, I'm sure.
Right. So,
I don't really usually ask men why they're doing the things they do. I just assume the worst.
Sure. But I think it's fair to assume the worst here too. I mean, like what?
Yeah.
What
I do
is
it for
more
all
likely?
people, not just men, to be fair.
Yes, fair.
And I think I think the attention seeking is it. It's because it's like I'm trying to put myself in his position. Like, why would I do that? The only reason why I would do that, I mean, ideally, I'd hope I'd have enough, chutzpah to just be like, hey, I'm not getting enough attention from you. We need to figure this out. But yeah, that's like a very quick and easy way to feel wanted. So if we're trying to get in his little psyche, I want to know what else he had to say other than it's innocent swiping. Like,
and Krystyna, the other thing to think about is whether or not he wants the attention from her. In general.
Ooh,
Well, and that's why
very good point.
It's fucking rich when men get on us for, how we dress and how women dress in an attention-seeking manner. Because I was like, literally, if we're talking about which sex needs more attention, it's men. Men, no question.
by a landslide.
Hands down, exactly, by a landslide. And it's like, so to finger point and say women need so much attention. Are you kidding me? You guys can't go an hour without a girlfriend.
Also, yeah, we know how to self-soothe when we want attention.
Yeah.
Meaning like, just post a tit pic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's super easy. We don't have to fucking rely on the people in our lives for all the attention that we crave. Like, we can fucking go out in the world and fucking get it.
And that's another point. Like, it is easier for women to get attention when we want it. But to say that, to point the finger and say women are so attention seeking as if men aren't is hilarious.
Yeah, that's
you
very
guys
true.
need constant attention. I feel like if you bring home like your a report you did at work, I have to hang it on the refrigerator and be like, look at my A+ student, great job.
How come, I was thinking about this. When a woman is like very caring in a relationship, it's like, it's assumed sometimes in both parties of the relationship and to that woman's friends and family possibly, that there's like a mother-son dynamic going on. But when a man takes care of a woman in a straight relationship, there's no assumption of this father-daughter dynamic as much as there is with the mother-son thing.
Well, it hasn't happened enough that there's any statistics on it. Oh. No one's had to make up make up a sociological review of it because it just happens so rarely that they're like, oh, that's just like a four-leaf clover.
Yeah. Women be bearing it ourselves. Yeah. Woo! All right, cool. Well, yeah, let us know, guys. Okay, what if there's a guy or a woman, anybody are you in a relationship right now and are you swiping while in a relationship? I'd be curious as to why.
You can't do it.
What?
You shouldn't.
You can't do it. You shouldn't do it.
No, it's awful.
That's insane.
It just goes
watch porn.
It goes literally, but the thing is, it feeds into what we've been talking about for weeks, which is men won't leave the relationship.
Right.
Someone
so annoying
in a very high position who told me this past week, they were like, Corinne, I've heard you talking on Guys We Fcked about this concept that men will never leave the relationship. And the person goes, I got to tell you something. And they were like, I'm trying to be like really neutral here. They were like, I know someone whose girlfriend tried to poison him and he got back in the relationship. Okay? That is how much men will not leave the relationship.
It's really putting the theory to the test.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the person was like, I could tell they were like, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but I just got to tell you this because I've heard you speaking about it on Guys We Fcked.
And
really funny.
That's a very high,
100% trustworthy source, high level, professional source.
Wow. What's up, man? You okay? What's going
obviously
on?
not.
What's going on in that head and heart of yours? Mm-hmm. We know what's going on in that dick of yours. What's going on in that head and in that heart?
Just extremely fascinating.
Holy shit. Okay. Hey, do you live in or near New Jersey? I will be headlining the Stress Factory in New Brunswick, New Jersey, January 4th through the 6th.
All right.
I think I got 5 shows total. Get your tickets. Link is in my bio at Krystyna Hutch on all the social media. And make sure to sign up for my Patreon if you think that group therapy once a month, therapy, once a week rather, would be something that you'd be interested in, or listening in on group therapy. I host it on my Patreon, patreon.com/Krystyna Hutchinson, and it's really good. And also my solo podcast, The Voices in Our Heads, is back, and it's under Big Dickie Dong, Mikey D. Coscarelli's new podcast network. Can I say the name?
Yeah.
It's Slickback Studios. It's going to launch
mid-January,
Early baby. But the next book I'm going to go into, and I want to read an excerpt on the bonus episode of Guys We Fcked. This fucking book, I got to say, I'm having like shit pop up for me, just memory wise. And this book has been incredibly helpful. It's called What Happened to You? Conversations on Trauma, Resilience, and Healing. It's by Oprah Winfrey and Dr. Bruce Perry. This is, as far as trauma books go, I think The Body Keeps the Score was one of the ones that really broke the mold in terms of how we talk about the way PTSD in soldiers and in kids who have had really terrible upbringings, how that works in the brain. And I read the book, a lot of it was really heady and I couldn't understand a lot of the science stuff. But this book, What Happened to You, I cannot recommend this enough. I think everybody who is in an abusive relationship should read this. Anybody who has had a little bit of an adverse childhood, any chaos in your childhood should read this. This is probably, I have had so many incredible aha moments with this book where I'd be alone in my apartment bawling my fucking face off, but like old tears, and just kind of getting it out of my system and really therapizing the memories that have been popping up for me lately. I can't recommend this book enough. What Happens to You? When a book's good, I got the audio version and the hardcover version, and that's what I have with this book. The audio version is incredible. Dr. Perry and Oprah narrate their individual parts, and it's a really eye-opening, simple, gentle explanation of childhood trauma. And one of the things that clicked with me really, really hard is, because this is what my parents did to me, I would have behavioral effects of how they treated me growing up, and they would always go to me and be like, "What's wrong with you, Krystyna? What's your problem?" And the whole theory of this book is, instead of asking what's wrong with you, ask what happened to you so you can understand it and integrate it into your life and then move on from it. So I highly recommend that book, and I highly recommend you listening to The Voices in Our Heads. New episodes are out every single Monday, baby.
Is it also helpful when men on the internet comment who hurt you? Is that something that they talk about in the book?
No, see, they should read that. Those men should read this book because they're clearly very hurt.
Is that an amazing, helpful thing to say? Oh, never. Boy. Anyway, all right. So now I got a couple dates coming up. I'll do them in order of when they're happening. Chicago, Illinois, December 15th and 16th, headlining Zini's Chicago with Chloe LeBranch and Eric Freddy. Moving on, New Year's Eve, which is, if you don't know, December 31st in New York City.
Thank you.
New York Comedy Club, East Village. We're going to do Corinne Fisher's Morbid New Year's Eve again. It is, though I am in a far less morbid mood than I was last year. Yay. I liked the morbid content, and there always will be morbidity in my soul. So that feels perfect. That's going to be a 6 p.m. show at the East Village, New York Comedy Club. Emilio just texted me. That's the owner of New York Comedy Club. He's going to be getting that link up right now, guys.
Yeah, such a fun show.
And, I'll book the show when I book it. Yeah. And then next year, 2024, Washington, D.C., headlining D.C. Comedy Loft, February 29th through March 2nd. That ticket link is also up. All these are via the Linktree link in my bio. I'm on Instagram and TikTok and X, aka Twitter, at philanthropygal.
Cool bitch, cool beans, cool everything.
Always just
uncool noise though.
Always cool fucking noise here.
So there was a post on Instagram that I was like, you know what? I always thought that a very expensive engagement ring was a dumb fucking idea. No offense to anybody who's got one.
But we talked about that with Nikki a little bit, yeah.
Yes. I always just, I'm like, this is so stupid. And as we said with Nikki, we've all gotten tricked, men and women, everybody, into buying this shit. Capitalism fucking runs everything, and it's been nice to finally realize that in my life, so I don't fall for all this shit. But one of them is expensive engagement ring, and there was a study that came out that revealed a study by economics professor Andrew Francis Tan and Hugo Malion suggests that couples who spend more on their weddings, including expensive engagement rings, are more likely to get divorced.
That's not shocking.
The research, based on over 3,000 people in the United States, found a correlation between higher wedding expenses and increased divorce rates. Marriages with engagement rings costing over 1,500 euros were particularly associated with a higher than likelihood of divorce. And then I posted that to my Instagram stories, and I got evidence that supports this theory 100%. I got evidence of people who bought very expensive engagement rings and they got divorced very soon after they got married. And then ones where a couple people were like, yeah, my husband bought my ring at an antique store and we've been married for 25 years. I'm like, damn.
Well, is it,
there you go.
Are they saying, did they give you like reason? Like, cause I have two theories, like that number one, it's like people who want to get married performatively.
For a show. Yeah. They didn't get into that cause I clicked the article and they just went through the data that they got. They didn't really make a conclusion, but I agree. I think it's all a show.
But then part two is also like part of it has to be, that you are just a more wealthy person. You like financially, you're doing better off, and that. Oddly enough, I think there are more variables when you're wealthy that can make a relationship go wrong.
More money, more problems.
I mean, because it's almost like when you have less money, you have less choices available to you. And you also need to rely on each other as a unit to get through the day to day. So I would think that would bond you. And whereas when you're really wealthy, you have the ability to kind of lead two separate lives.
Yes, that's very true.
And so those are like my two things that I initially thought of with those statistics.
Your first one was my theory as well. The second one makes all the sense in the world. I didn't think of that one, but that makes total sense.
If you ever go to a bad wedding, you really sit there and just say like, wow, you guys really must want to get married if you're willing to do it here.
Every time I'm at a VFW hall, I think that.
These kids are going to make it. Why else would you do this?
You go, why?
Homespun
why
wedding.
are we here?
We're at the Holiday Inn? What the fuck? Why are you getting married
The
here?
Holiday Inn, I wish.
Why are you getting married
wish the Holiday
Christmas
Inn.
Eve?
Yeah.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. No.
I agree. I think that like the weddings I've seen weddings that are like fancier, richer, that I'm like, yeah, these people really do love each other. But then it's like my boyfriend he does high-end weddings. He's a singer and he'll sing these crazy weddings. And sometimes the flower budget is it's like $500,000. And I'm like, you're going to fucking throw these things out. Flowers? What are we doing? That's a down payment.
Flowers are so expensive. Yeah.
They're so expensive. And then I feel like the wedding industry really gouges you. Like the wedding dress itself doesn't cost that much to make. Obviously, of course, there are intricate ones that are, but they just know that you're only going to buy one.
Panina Tournay. Come on.
What's that?
Yeah, Vera Wang,
She's a very famous wedding dress designer.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the designers.
Say yes to the dress, baby. Got to go to Kleinfeld's. I got to be honest, though. I loved going to Kleinfeld's. I was so excited. When I went to Kleinfeld's with Paula when she was picking out her wedding dress.
Famous place?
It's the place to get a wedding dress.
It's not far from here.
Yeah, it's right in New York City. It's like
23rd, 24th.
People fly in from all over the world, not even the country, to go to Kleinfeld's.
Really?
Yeah. My sister got a dress there too.
Yeah.
See,
it was just so fun to be there.
Yeah, it is.
That's
it's cool.
cool.
They bring you like champagne and stuff. Yeah, it's cool.
Wow.
It
It
was
was in the
great.
movies.
Yeah.
And it was stress-free for me because I'm like, I'm not picking out a fucking dress.
Right. I'm
Yeah,
here
that's
for
the ideal
champagne.
circumstance.
Well, and I did, I think I talked about this on the show, but it was great going with Paula because I was like, my best friend's better looking than all your best friends.
Yeah.
So my best friend looked good in all the dresses.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's like a model.
And I brought Princess Jasmine to just try on dresses. It was insane. It was so great.
Yeah, that also speaks to why if I get married, I want my wedding to be an immersive theater experience that's mostly comedic. Why not?
The only other caveat that I'll add to this as like a theory is...
and why? Yeah.
No, I just think ethnic weddings tend to be big. Hispanic, Jewish, Italian.
Yeah.
And I think that is also a bit of listen, like my parents...
Like culture pushing you to get married? Your culture pushing you to get married?
It's such a to-do. Like it's like if you get married, at least in the Italian culture, or the Jewish culture too, you're expected, I think, by the families to have, especially Italian and an Italian or a Jew and a Jew. Like
right.
They want you, they want you on the chairs, like in a big banquet hall and stuff, So I don't know. I think that's a factor also, but I do tend to agree with both of those theories. I think like there are times where you see a big wedding, like a lavish wedding on Instagram or whatever. We were just like, start the clock.
What is this for?
This has got a year and a half tops.
Yeah.
But I gotta gotta say, like recently, like I don't, a lot of people our age who have gotten married, I don't actually see because people are always like, get ready for the divorces. And it's like, haven't really seen very many divorces in my, and it would be around the time when at least like round one of divorces would start. And I really haven't seen them.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, that's
nice. A lot less people are getting married though. Yeah. So that plays into it. But
and I feel like that's like the economy in general is kind of crap. And like, I forget, like when our parents were our age or younger, they could have only one job and buy a house and have kids.
For sure.
And we can't do that now. Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah, no, it's sad. I like, I never like rejoice when people get divorced.
No,
like none of my,
even if you called it, it's like, I wish I was wrong.
Or like even any of like my exes who are married, like I wouldn't be happy if any of them got divorced, truthfully. Like that doesn't make me happy. That's not good.
How are you?
All right. I have something from the internet too.
Sweet. Love the internet.
I just saw, this was just like a question that they were asking on Crazy Bitch Problems, which I do follow.
I love that account.
And so I thought it would be a good question for the group. And it says, which is the hardest for you to say? A, I apologize. B, I need help. C, I love you. Or D, I was wrong.
I need help. I'd have my leg get cut off and bleed out before I say that.
Probably for me too, I think.
Oh, it's so humiliating to say you need help for me.
Yeah. It's okay. I was like, I'm going to go with I was wrong for me. The biggest one answer in the comments was I need help.
Really?
I think a couple years ago, I worked really hard on, asking like for help when I need it, because I was like, you're only punishing yourself when you don't ask for help.
Right.
Totally. And you're holding yourself back when you don't ask for help, because you're then doing, all of the work. I mean, like if even they talk about it in the Robert Greene, what the fuck
48 Laws of Power?
Yeah, I always forget how many there are. There's so many laws of power.
I know. So he probably wrote the 49th book.
I mean, basically 48 laws of power, if you're going to whittle it down to like one sentence, it's like always take credit for work and never do any. That's the book. I just summarized it for you now. You could take all of it, be really pleasant to be around. And
pleasant to be around. That's a good one.
A smile on your face, social, remembers people's names.
A little wink.
Do very little work. Know how to delegate the work and give people in your who are working for you pats on the back and tell them that they're doing a good job, and then take all the credit for the work. That's the 48 Laws of Power in a nutshell. That's what I learned from that book. And so as much as like we like to put pride ourselves on never asking for help, it's literally the worst thing you can do for success. When I think of, I certainly know a lot of successful people who work very hard, but I also know a large chunk of people who don't work hard at all and just kind of float. Mike and I are probably thinking of some of the same people right now. I know we are. And they just kind of float on by because they are consistently asking for help. I got in a really interesting conversation with an Uber driver. He was taking me from my store back to my apartment, and he was like a clothing designer who had been really popular. Like he had an urban like streetwear brand, and he had been really popular. Like Alicia Keys had worn his clothing and all this stuff, and it's still around now. But he was having some trouble, so we were kind of like spitballing some ideas for him to get his business up and running again. And I was like, dude, if you helped all these people in their career and gave them free clothing, I was like, and then you're telling me that they are now really successful people. I was like, go back and ask those people who you helped initially to help you now. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, my wife said that too. And I was like, yeah, do it. I was like, when are you saving this favor for? Or like, why are you letting your pride get in the way? Like those people had no problem riding your coattails to the top. So go back and say, and you don't have to like, say I did this for you, so now you have to do that for me. Like that's not a good energy to bring to the table.
I'm driving Uber. Can you help me?
Yeah, just say, hey, like I feel like my brand's not popping off the way it used to be. If I send you a free sweatsuit, would you put it on and wear it on Instagram? Yeah. And like anyone who remembers who they're from and has any like sense of decency and reciprocity, will pop it on.
You know what though?
They're going to be excited.
There are so many people
to promote it.
All the people who helped me, I will never forget. I will never forget.
They have a special place in your heart forever.
Haven't we had this discussion? Probably off mic more than anything, though. There are so many people, at least in this business, who don't ever remember where they came from.
And then those people are sociopaths.
Yeah, but they're in the business.
They're there though.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, but I think like it's nice. Like people do like smell that about them. So even if they do continue to succeed, it makes me happy that no one is really falling for their bullshit. You know?
Sure.
Like that does make me happy. Makes me think that people aren't as blind as they sometimes appear to be. So that's nice.
That is nice. You know who's also nice?
Today's guest.
Yeah, fucking guest today. Oh my God. And guys, please, I just want to say before we intro her, before you hear this, check out the links in the description of today's episode where you will find resources and places to donate and places to learn more about the topics discussed. Okay, that's very important. This person, she is a nurse, a mother, a wife, and she's one of my dearest friend sisters. And she is currently in the midst of chemotherapy treatment for a very rare form of breast cancer. And she has a lot of fascinating pieces of advice and wisdom to share with us. Please welcome to the show, Danya Francis.